Hello everyone, welcome to Shak Horror Stories. Before we dive into the tales of terror, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. Also, let me know in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? Your comments will significantly help my channel's growth, and I appreciate your support more than you know. Alright, let's dive into the stories. In the fall of 2019, I was burned out completely. Couldn't think, couldn't sleep, couldn't even sit still without my skin crawling. So, I took some time off work. A buddy of mine, Ree, knew a guy who apparently had a cabin in the mountains near a little town called Harper's Bend. Said it was his uncle's place. Barely used anymore, but stocked, and ready if I needed quiet. Reese vouched for it, and honestly, I was desperate. I said yes without asking much. I drove up alone, 4 hours out, no traffic. I pulled up to the cabin around 4:00 p.m. It looked fine. A bit old, sure, but sturdy. Wood exterior, narrow chimney, surrounded by thick forest on every side. Not much of a yard, just trees right up to the porch. No signal. On my phone, but that was part of the appeal. I needed to unplug. A guy was already waiting there. Introduced himself as Micah, said he was the caretaker. Mid-40s maybe. Real thin, long dark hair, kind of papery skin, like he's been through a few too many sunburns. Something about him was off. He smiled a lot, but it was wrong. The kind of smile that doesn't touch the eyes. You'll have the place to yourself, he said. I live nearby. Just holler if you need anything. I thanked him, and before I could ask anything else, he turned and walked off into the woods. No car, no path, just gone. The first night I actually slept pretty well. The silence was heavy, but in a good way. No cars, no neighbors, no buzzing phone. I lit the fireplace, read for a bit, had a couple bourbons and knocked out early. Second night, I heard the knocking. 3 soft taps. Just after 10 a.m. came from the window near the kitchen sink. I paused, waited, thought maybe I imagined it, but it had been real. 3 knocks. Deliberate. I went over and looked outside with a flashlight. Nothing. Just trees and dark. Could have been a branch, maybe even a squirrel. Third night, same thing. But this time, the sound came from a different window. Same pattern. 3 knocks, then silence. I didn't go look right away. I stood in the middle of the cabin holding the flashlight, breathing too loud, telling myself it was nothing. I finally checked, and again no one, just forest, still as ever. Later that same night, I saw Micah standing just inside the tree line. Far. Enough that I couldn't make out his face, but close enough that I knew it was him. No light, no movement, just standing there facing the cabin. I stepped outside and called his name. He didn't answer. He didn't move. Then, like someone hitting rewind, he backed up into the trees until I couldn't see him anymore. I barely slept that night. By morning, I was done. I packed my bag before breakfast and decided I'd hike out. I'd figure out a ride later. I opened the door to leave, and Michael was standing right there, not moving, just inches from the door. You said you were leaving tomorrow, he said. His voice wasn't right, like someone trying to imitate a voice they'd only ever heard, through a wall. Too smooth in the wrong places, like it was stitched together. Changed my mind, I said. I kept my tone even. My heart was doing its best to break out of my ribs, didn't sleep well. He smiled wide. Too wide. No teeth. Just this dark, Weddle-looking space where his mouth should have been. There's nothing out there for you, he said. Then he turned and walked off around the cabin. I slammed the door and locked it. I tried calling Reese, straight to voicemail. I tried again and again, nothing. I sat there for maybe an hour just pacing, talking to myself, telling myself it was just some weird caretaker who took his job too seriously. And then I heard it from the back room. My voice calling my name. I didn't even pause. I grabbed my stuff and ran out the front door down the hill, into the woods. No trail, just going downhill because I figured the road had to be that way. I kept moving until my legs gave out and I fell face first into some gravel. Turns out I was a few hundred yards from a ranger station. I told him I'd gotten lost hiking. Didn't say anything else. Back home, I asked Ree what the hell kind of setup that was. He looked at me like I was making it up. What cabin? He said the one near Harper's Bend. You said your friend's uncle? I don't have any friends with property out there. He said I've never even heard of Harper's Bend. I don't know where I stayed. I don't know who or what Micah really was, but I know this. He wasn't human. and I don't think that cabin belongs to anyone at... In 2022, during the winter, I was living near Dante, Virginia. I thought I understood the area, but something that happened back then proved me wrong. My name is Brenda. I'm 53 years old, and I work as an audio archivist for a regional historical society. My job involves traveling to rural areas and recording oral histories, folk songs, and local stories before they're lost to time. I was in Dante, a former coal town in Russell County, to record interviews with retired miners about their experiences. The Historical Society had arranged for me to stay in a small house owned by a man named Raymond, who had worked in the mines for 40 years before they closed. He lived next door and had converted his mother's old house into a short-term rental. I spent my days conducting interviews and my evenings reviewing the recordings. On my fourth night there, I noticed something strange in the audio files. There was a faint background sound I hadn't heard during the actual interviews. A rhythmic tapping, like someone sending Morse code. I isolated the sound and amplified it. It was definitely a pattern. Tap, 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 pause, tap, tap, pause, tap, pause, tap, 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 tap. It repeated throughout the entire interview, a constant rhythm beneath the voices. I checked all my equipment. Everything was functioning normally. I listened to recordings from previous days. The tapping was there too, in every interview, every recording I'd made since arriving in Dante. I asked Raymond about it the next morning. He invited me into his house and poured coffee while I explained the sound. He listened carefully, then took me to his basement. In the corner of the basement, mounted on the wall, was an old telegraph wire. It was original to the house, he explained, installed in the 1920s when Dante was a booming coal town, and telegraph was the fastest communication. The wire hadn't been active in decades, but Raymond's father had refused to remove it, said it was part of history. Raymond walked over to the wire and touched it. I can feel it sometimes, he said. Vibrations, like something still trying to send messages. My father said it never stopped. Even after the telegraph office closed, even after the system was shut down, this wire kept carrying signals. Signals from where? I asked. He shrugged. The mines, maybe. There were telegraph lines running underground, connecting different shafts and offices. When the mines closed, nobody removed them. They're still down there, miles of wire running through abandoned tunnels. That night, I set up recording equipment in Raymond's basement, positioned near the telegraph wire. I let it record for 8 hours while I slept. The next morning, I transferred the audio to my laptop and began analyzing it. The tapping was there, much louder and clearer than in my interview recordings. And it was definitely Morse code. I'm not an expert, but I know the basics. I spent the morning transcribing the patterns, converting the taps into letters. The message repeated over and over. Shift ended. Waiting for transport. Still below. Shift ended. Waiting for transport. Still below. The same message, cycling continuously for 8 hours. I showed Raymond my transcription. His face went pale. He asked me to stop recording, to stop listening to the wire. When I asked why, he told me about the Clinchfield mine disaster. In March 1932, there was an explosion in the Clinchfield mine just outside Dante. 38 men were trapped underground. Rescue efforts went on for 6 days. The telegraph system was still functioning in some parts of the mine, and the trapped men sent messages up to the surface, reporting their status, asking for help, counting down their remaining supplies. On the 6th day, the messages stopped. When rescuers finally reached the trapped section 3 days later, all 38 men were dead. The official cause was listed as suffocation due to toxic gas. But according to Raymond's father, who had been part of the rescue team, something was wrong with the scene they found. The men weren't where they should have been. The telegraph station in that section showed signs of recent use, messages written on scraps of paper scattered around. But the final messages, the ones written just before the men died, weren't desperate pleas for rescue. They were coordinates, lists of numbers that didn't correspond to any location in the mine. And the strangest detail, all 38 men were found with their hands on the telegraph wire, like they'd been trying to send one final message when they died. Raymond's father believed the men were still sending that message, that somehow their final act of gripping the wire had bound them to it, trapped them in the copper and insulation, forever trying to communicate something they'd discovered in those final moments underground. I should have stopped investigating then, but I'm an archivist. Mystery documentation is what I do. I spent the next week recording the wire continuously, transcribing every message. The message changed. It was no longer just shift ended, waiting for transport, still below. New phrases appeared. Found something. Not supposed to be here. It's alive down here. Don't open the sealed shaft. Tell them we know. I researched sealed shafts in the Clinchfield mine. After the disaster, 3 sections were permanently sealed with concrete, marked as unstable and dangerous. The official records said the seals were necessary to prevent collapse. But Raymond told me his father believed the seals were hiding something, that the miners had discovered something in those deep shafts that the company wanted kept secret. I became obsessed. I set up multiple recorders in Raymond's basement, capturing the wire from different angles, different times of day. The messages grew more detailed, more urgent. One recording captured the sequence. We see it moving. It knows we're here. It's coming closer. We're trying to warn them. The wire is the only way out. We went into the wire. We're in the wire now. We're traveling through the wire. We're looking for the end. I played that recording for Raymond. He unplugged every piece of my equipment and told me to stop. Told me that his father had warned him never to listen too closely to the wire, that the men trapped inside were looking for a way out, and if you listened too long, if you connected yourself to their signal, they might find you. Find me how? I asked. Through the recording equipment, Raymond said. You're creating a connection. Your microphones pick up their signal, transfer it to your devices, into your computer, into your headphones. You're building a bridge from the wire to yourself, and they're looking for any way out of the wire, any path back to the surface. I thought he was being superstitious. I continued recording, now more fascinated than ever. I started recording the wire 24 hours a day, reviewing hours of audio, transcribing every message. The phrases became more complex, more aware. Brenda, one message said. My name is Joseph Miller. I died in 1932. I've been in the wire for 90 years. I can hear you listening. I know you're there. Please help us get out. It knew my name. It knew I was listening. The wire, or the men in the wire, or whatever had absorbed their consciousness 90 years ago, was aware of me specifically. More names followed. Thomas Carr, William Hutchins, Robert Dale, Frank Morrison, all names from the disaster list. 38 men, all identifying themselves, all asking for help, all trapped in the telegraph wire. Then the messages changed again. They became instructions. Disconnect your devices. Stop recording. We're too close now. If we reach your equipment, we can move through it. We can follow the signal. We can reach where you are. I finally listened. I unplugged everything, disconnected all my recorders, shut down my laptop. I packed my equipment and told Raymond I was leaving. But it was too late. The bridge had already been built. That night, alone in the rental house, I heard tapping on the pipes. The same rhythm, the same Morse code pattern. The wire in Raymond's basement was connected to the old water pipes, and those pipes ran to every house in the neighborhood, including the one I was staying in. The men in the wire had found a path to me. I turned on my faucet and the tapping got louder, more insistent. I could feel vibration in the metal, like dozens of hands gripping the pipes from inside, trying to climb through the plumbing toward me. I ran next door and woke Raymond. He came back with me and listened to the pipes. His face confirmed what I already knew. They're in your house now, he said. They followed the connection. Once they reach your location, they'll start looking for a way out. A way to manifest physically. How do I stop it? I asked. You can't, he said. You invited them in by listening. Now they know where you are. Best thing you can do is leave. Leave tonight. Don't tell them where you're going. Don't use any connected device they could follow. I packed and left within an hour. I drove to a hotel in Abingdon, paying cash, using no credit cards or phone calls that could be traced. I left all my recording equipment behind, but I can still hear them. Not in pipes or wires, but in electronic devices. My phone sometimes picks up faint tapping sounds beneath normal calls. My laptop speakers occasionally emit rhythmic clicks when nothing is playing. My car radio, between stations, sometimes captures fragments of Morse code. The men in the wire are still looking for me. They know I listened to them, know I tried to help them, and now they want me to complete what I started. They want me to free them from the wire, to give them a path back to the physical world. 2 weeks after leaving Dante, I received a package at my home address. No return address, no postmark. Inside was a piece of copper wire, about 6 inches long, wrapped in a piece of paper. The paper had a message written in pencil. We found your home. We're in your wiring now. We're close, Brenda. So close. Just touch the wire. Help us out. I called an electrician and had every wire in my house replaced. Cost me $8,000. For a month, things were quiet. No tapping, no messages, no signs of the men in the wire. Then I started hearing them in other places. Store intercoms, traffic lights, ATM machines, any system with electrical wiring. The men weren't just in old telegraph lines anymore. They'd learned to move through modern electrical systems, spreading through power grids, adapting to new technology. And they were still looking for me. Last week I heard my name in the tapping pattern coming from a streetlight. Brenda, we remember you. We're everywhere now. Everywhere there's wire, we can be. And eventually, we'll find our way out. Through someone. Through something. Maybe through you. I don't know how to stop them. I don't know if they can be stopped. 90 years ago, 38 men died gripping a telegraph wire in a sealed mine shaft, trying to warn the world about something they'd discovered in the dark. Now, they're trapped in the wire itself, spreading through electrical systems, looking for any path back to the world they left behind. And I'm the one who listened. I'm the one who built the bridge. I'm the one they're hunting. And I think they're going to emerge through me, because I'm the one who listened. Every wire in every wall carries their signal now. Every electrical device is a potential doorway. And somewhere in that vast network of copper and current, 38 men are moving closer, learning how to cross from the wire into the world. And when they finally figure it out, when they finally find the right path, the right person, the right moment, they're going to emerge. All of them. 38 men who died in 1932, preserved in electrical current, coming back to a world they don't understand.